Hello to my network. This is another installment in the series on work-life harmony. Over the last few months, there's been so much going on in my life and the different entities that I'm working with. And I was reflecting on my own leadership journey from when I was very young, from in my 20s to where I am right now. Um, And one of the things that it dawned on me that I'm much better at it now than I was when I was in twenties, but was this idea that I need to unlearn some of the habits that I developed from a very young child. And it's interesting, you can call them habits or just standards that you've created for yourself in the way that you interact with the world or interact with people or your network, what have you. But the unlearning is it has to be an intentional thing because I think over time we do things that are harmful to our overall harmony. I'll give you the example that struck me. When I was a very young child growing up in a household, my parents were just amazing, wonderful, hardworking. They immigrated to Canada in the 60s, and we built our life here. So I learned about culture and things from them, and also through osmosis, being immersed in the Canadian environment from a very young age. But one of the things that stuck with me throughout my childhood was that if something breaks, there has to be consequences, right? You get in trouble for something breaking. Like if let's say that you were riding your bike and your bike wheel fell off and it broke, right? You would get in trouble for the bike wheel breaking and falling off, or you dropped a plate, like or you're roughhousing in the house, and one of you, my brother or my sister and I, we were up to our antics when we were younger, so there could have been collateral damage. But if a glass breaks or something like that, somebody got in trouble for it. And you take that into your professional life as well, right? We are always looking for, and I think it's healthy to look for root causes of problems, but there seems to be this inherent attachment to punishment, right? So if something went wrong, somebody has to be punished for it, as opposed to if something went wrong and we analyze it, we understand the root cause of it. How do we ensure that going forward we don't make the same mistake again, right? For young kids, right? One of the things that you learn at an early age is if you're boiling water on the stove, and I know a lot of young people microwave it now, but you used to have a kettle and you boil water on the kettle and you touch the pot, you learn very quickly that that's not something you want to do again, right? Um, the understanding that something went wrong is sufficient enough to guide your actions going forward, right? Um, but I don't know that we take that same lesson, forward into our professional careers. We're always, I found that in many of the organizations that I worked with, when a project went off the rails or it went sideways, or you didn't achieve the entire suite of objectives that you were intending, there's always these recriminations, right? So who's to blame? Whose fault is it? And then you almost go on this kind of witch hunt to find the culprit and make sure that they're punished in public, right? So there's a dressing down and all those things. And I thought about one of the things that in my career, I made an intentional decision probably about 30 years ago not to do that. I always focused on what do I want to learn from this and how do I incorporate that into how I operate going forward. And it served me really well. It really has, and that's one of the things I thought about from harmony. Because if you're searching for somebody to blame, somebody to punish for things not going quite right, whether it's in your personal or professional lives, you're spending energy on the wrong things. Because the future's still there, and it requires energy and resources and intellect and planning and commitment. All of those things, all of those energy users of energy are still important, and they need to be focused on. And how much of that energy are you using to go back on something that you cannot change? I believe that we do need to learn lessons and spend a little bit of time kind of analyzing where was it that took us off course. But investing a great deal of time on this quest to find somebody or something to punish for things not going the way that we expect, I think those are wasted cycles and wasted resources. And I think if we're going to achieve harmony, it's important to spend, the appropriate level of time and understand what went wrong and what didn't go quite as planned, and then move from there very quickly, pivot from there into problem solving for the future, investing in the future, creating the right kind of resources or the right conditions so the outcomes that you're looking for in the future are more achievable, and they're easier. The path is easier because you've got the lessons in your back pocket now. So hopefully, I'm continuing to be intentional about learning and incorporating that particular lesson, because things are not going well right now in the world, and we know the root cause. It doesn't serve us well to continue to go back and analyze the root cause when we know what the root cause is. But we can spend much more productive, valuable resources on creating a future that we want and creating the harmony that we want. And I'm going to choose to do that. So hopefully this is helpful. I encourage those who are viewing this recording to just spend a moment, think about those things that we learned, all right? Those small behaviors we learned in our childhood that still impact our lives today. And is there something that you can fix there? I know what my mission is to continue to fix that particular one, make sure that I'm not blaming anybody. I know, and people might be the root cause of a problem, all right? But that also gives you some options. How do you make sure that if those people are intentional in creating problems for you, how do you make sure that they don't have the opportunity to do that in the future? All right. And as always, I wish you the day and the life you deserve. Be well. Thanks.